As we just saw in the last clip, filters in Angular allow you to massage and format data for presentation. You can take an expression like stargazers_count, and you can pipe that model value through a filter, which will modify the data for display. The basic format to use a filter is to use some sort of expression and then the pipe symbol. So you pipe something into a filter, you have to name the filter, and then there's a colon and any parameters that the filter might need. Here are some examples using the built-in filters of Angular. We don't have time to cover each one, but you can convert numerical data into a number with a currency sign, convert dates into strings that display just the date or just the year, or anything you need, as the date filter is very flexible. There's a filter that will filter out objects from a collection based on a search term, and a JSON filter, which is useful for dumping objects into the display for debugging. The limit filter is a way to say, I only want to show 3 repositories or 10 repositories instead of the entire array, while lowercase and uppercase transform strings, just as their names would imply. And number is one filter we've already used. It will format numbers with a localized delimiter and optionally control the number of digits after the decimal point. What I want to use next is the order by filter, so we can sort our list of repositories using different fields. Let's set up the page so that we see the repositories appear in sorted order. I want the repository with the most number of stars to appear first, and in order to do that, I would try an order by filter here with my ng-repeat. So I want to order this array of repositories by stargazers_count. And the reason I'm using a single quote here is because order by needs you to tell it the property to order by. So I need to specify a property on a repository, and I'm using single quotes here because Angular will evaluate whatever parameter I pass here as an expression. By using single quotes, I'm telling Angular this is a string literal, stargazers count, this is the name of the property to use. And it's single quotes because I already have double quotes here for the attribute. If I did not use those single quotes, Angular would go looking for a property on my scope, a property by the name stargazers count, and then it would use the value of that property to order by. That's not what I want just yet, but if that didn't make sense, don't worry, we're going to come back and revisit that. For right now, I just want to take a look at the preview window and try to bring up Angular's repositories, and I can see that the default sort order is ascending sort. So we are looking at the repository with the least number of stars first. This is very easy to change. With Angular, you can put a plus or a minus in front of this. A plus would imply ascending sort order. That's what we already have. So I would like to have a minus here to get a descending sort order. And now I can see that the most popular repository for the Angular user is, not surprisingly, angular.js. So now let me show you what happens if I do not use single quotes here. I'm going to take this string, cut it out of here, and replace it with repo sort order. So now what Angular is going to do is it's going to look for a property by this name on my scope object and use that value to figure out how to sort this collection. In other words, if I come in to my controller and I say scope.repo sort order equals, and that string that I cut out, this is effectively the same thing I had before, but now instead of controlling the sort order by putting a hard-coded string into the view, I am now controlling the sort order using a property on my scope. And if I come out to the preview page and search for Angular, it's still working the same as before. But now what's interesting is I have a property that I can manipulate on my scope object to change the sort order. And perhaps the user doesn't like this default sort order. Perhaps they want to sort by the repository name in alphabetical order, or the primary language in alphabetical order. Well, that is now very easy to make happen. Back in my index view, just before the table, let me place some text here and let's build a drop-down list so that the user can select how they want to sort something. So this will be a select option. I don't really need a name or an ID for my select, but what I do need to do is bind this using ng-model to repo sort order. So ng-model also works against a select just as well as it does an input type equals text. Essentially, when the user selects something in this drop-down list, Angular will make sure to move the selected value into the model. Likewise, if my controller sets the model value that it is examining, ngbind will automatically make sure that that is the selected element inside of here. So now I just need some options. So one option will be to sort ascending order on name. Another option will be to sort in descending order on stargazers underscore count, and that's the default. And the last option will be to sort in ascending order on the language. So the value that I'm putting in for these options is the value that's going to be placed into the model, plus name or plus language. And whenever that changes, Angular will realize there's a change there, and then this order by depends on that particular value, so it will resort the table. Let's try it out. Back in the preview window, let's look at Angular. Notice stars was the initial selection, and that is the sort order, but I can change to name, or I could change to language. And now with just a little bit of code, not only are we displaying information about a user, we're also displaying information about the user's repositories, and we're letting our user select the order in which those are displayed.